Yeah, kids can be present. Absolutely. Yeah, we want, it's great to have conversation that way.
This is the only way we're getting this information out to people. And so, to families and to kids. And so it really, whenever they can show up and the more info, the more, they know, the better. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Carrie Phipps, and I am the 9th grade counselor here at Ashland High School. I've been here, this is my 3rd year. Go ahead, Diane.
Oh, sorry. My name is Diane Berry, and I right now work with 10th through 12th grade students with their last names ending A through HA.
Hi everyone, I'm Brianna or Bree Trevino, and right now I work with students grades 10 through 12, last names HE through N. And Carrie, I just want to let you know that, can you put the link in the chat? Or
I'm sorry?
Can someone put the link in the chat for this meeting? Because some people are not able to access it.
The link to this meeting?
Yes.
To the Zoom.
Well,
that way
can one of you do that? Just go to your your Outlook.
Yeah.
Click on
that, Bree, or do you want me to?
Because I have to stop sharing in order to do that. And so if one of you do it.
I believe somebody just put a link in chat right now. I don't know if that's the one, but someone just did it. So, and last but not least, I'm Maurice Montero, counselor for students 10th grade through 12th, last name with letters O through Z. Yeah, people are doing it for us. So everybody, thank you. Thanks for helping us out. Yeah.
I mean, I just have to stop sharing, so it'd be better if someone else did it. And so anyway, as school counselors, we wear many hats, but basically our jobs are academic guidance for students, also social and emotional support, and career and college readiness. So, and planning, making plans for when students are ready to finish high school. But there's a lot of things in between those 3 categories, but those are the ones that we always keep in our focus. Okay, and so today, our agenda is to help you be familiar with the graduation requirements and credits and what that means in high school, the importance of being connected, because we know that students who are connected do better in school, how to be successful, other tips on being successful as a 9th grader. We also want you to get to know the course guide and our mini elective choices. We will also go over completing the forecasting form, or the class choice form. We call it forecasting, but we may interchangeably say course selection as well. Okay, so that's our agenda for today. And so just getting started, the most important thing, this is like the roadmap to getting a high school diploma at Ashland High School, is the graduation requirements. You are required to take this list of classes. And next to this list, you'll see the credits that you need. So in high school, you take very similar classes than what you've been taking in middle school, except you have to earn the credit for those classes in order to meet the requirements needed to earn a high school diploma. Such as language arts, you have to have 8 credits. That means you will take 1 class all year for 4 years. And so each semester is worth 1 credit. And so a full year class is 2 semesters and therefore 2 credits. All right. Now, in order to earn those credits, you have to pass the class. And in order to pass the class, you have to receive a letter grade of D- or above. Sounds pretty simple, right? And in some ways it is very simple, except a D- is not considered a great grade, meaning that they're not 100% sure that you actually understood the material. And therefore, in many classes, such as math, you, if you receive a D minus, you will earn credit for that class, but you will not be able to go to the next level of class. And so, so yes, a D minus can get you credit only so far. And then you're going to have to pass that class again with a higher grade of at least C in order to be moved on to the next level of math or science or world language. And so these are things to consider, but there's also something else to consider, and that is your grade point average. So each grade you receive in high school is also given a number amount, like a point average, a point. And so you have to, so for each grade, you're going to get so many points. And then we add those together, divide them by the number of classes that you took, and get a grade point average. Now you might have heard of this, a GPA is what we call it. And a GPA can help you have more choices when you want to leave high school and to, you know, like what college you want to go to or what college will accept your application depending on your grade point average. And so, but it's also can be scholarship based, like a number of scholarships you have to have earned a certain GPA. And also, if you haven't heard, you should check out the Oregon Promise, where Oregon, if you earn a 2.5 GPA overall for your high school, Oregon will pay your tuition to any Oregon community college. And so I'm going to go into this a little bit more. Now, some of you I know as parents, you probably already know this. So a 4 point, an A is worth 4 points. A B is worth 3 points. A C is worth 2 points. A D is 1, and you guessed it, an F is 0. Okay, and so just say that I took these 5 classes, and these are the grades that I earned. Okay, I got an A, I got a B, I got a C, I got a D, and then I got an F. And those are the points that I've earned. Can anybody shout out how many people are here? 75. So I don't know if shouting out is such a good idea, but what would be my GPA? Anybody?
2.0.
2.0, very good. I'd have a 2.0. So I did really well. I got an A and a B, but that D and F really sunk my GPA. So it's not going to give me the Oregon Promise. So this is a little different than middle school, obviously. You do have to earn the grade. You are going to be earning a grade point average. Sorry, you have to earn the credit. You are going to be getting a grade point average, which is going to open up some more options for you in the long run. So a D minus is, yeah, you can get the credit, but it's not going to get you where you want to be. All right, so how many credits will you earn with a 1 semester class? Just open it up. How many? How many credits for a 1 semester class? 1. How many credits do you need to graduate from Ashland High School?
50.
Very good, 50. And how many years of a world language are required for college admission? This is a trick question. Huh?
It depends on the college, but for most it's 2.
How many years of world language are required for college admission? Okay, so if you want to go to a 4-year university, you do need 2 years of the same language, same world language. Do you need it to get a high school diploma at Ashland High School? No, you don't. But we do highly recommend that students take a world language for a lot of good reasons, and but definitely so that you can apply to a 4-year university when you're leaving, if you choose to go to university after you get a high school diploma. Okay. We'll be talking about that kind of thing a lot over, like when you get to 9th grade, we'll be talking more about GPA and more about, credits and career and college planning. I'm going to hand it over to Diane.
Thanks, Gary.
Sure
So
thing.
I'm just going to talk really briefly about some of the opportunities we have at Ashland High School for your student to get connected. And the reason that we bring this up in this presentation is because we know that our students who are connected to activities outside of academics tend to do better social emotionally. They tend to do better academically. They just feel a little bit more whole. So we do want to encourage balance and not have students overdoing it. And that's different for every student. But we're just going to give you a brief overview of some of what we have here. So obviously we have athletics. This doesn't like actually list all of our athletics, just some of them. We have fall, winter, and spring athletics. Moving on, Carrie. In that middle column or that far right column, we also have different kinds of year-long and event-long activities. We have Fresh Start, which some of you parents and some students may be familiar with older children or older siblings. We're going to go ahead and have that again this year. It's going to be up at, I believe, Lake of the Woods. We have a robotics club that is really exciting and has won state competitions and competed in nationally. Our speech and debate program is moving into a club format rather than a class format, but we'll still compete. We have a really exciting leadership group. If 8th graders are interested in leadership, they can forecast for it. That means they can sign up for it. And then our leadership teacher will reach out to them. A lot of your 8th graders know her, Jamie Hayden. She's taught health and leadership at the middle school. Now she's teaching half-time over at the high school. We obviously have a very robust theater program, orchestra, band, National Honor Society for students who are achieving a 3.5 GPA and above, and a National Arts Society, which students are able to apply to their sophomore year. Moving on, Carrie. Okay, lots and lots of clubs. We really encourage students to get involved in at least try out a club or two. I think we have about 50 right now. During the pandemic, I think we actually have about 20 that are active, but once we are out of this, we'll return to our normal number. I really recommend students do explore clubs. It's really an easy way to get to know new people who share some similar interests. They're held during lunchtime, usually once a week. A lot of times there's snacks. It's easy just to go to a club, try it out, see if you like it, keep going, or try a new one. All right, moving on.
Sorry, I'm trying to
I'm
keep up
moving
with you.
fast. I know we're going to have a lot of questions, so I want to move fast here. Okay, so we kind of think about, 6 different kind of pieces of success in 9th grade. We know that it's a year of a lot of transition, a lot of changes, wonderful changes, developmentally appropriate changes, but also challenges that, we want students to have lots of support and feel very connected. In order to kind of take on. So as I said, we want students to try to be involved in more than just their academics. And again, that doesn't have to be something school related. It could be, piano outside of school, or dance, or hiking, or, interests outside of their academics is just a really good piece of balance. We want to bring up the critical importance of attendance. At the high school, it is more difficult to make up work when students have missed days. That's kind of the reality. So we really do stress that parents, guardians don't plan vacations or extended holidays during the school year, that you really try to prioritize that during our natural breaks. I have seen students in my 6 years here, to be honest, who are making A's and B's, go to Hawaii for a week, and it takes them 2 months to catch up, and a lot of stress. and a lot of anxiety. So again, please be thoughtful about that. Organization, we'll be working with your students around that, but now's a time to really have some conversations if your student has a hard time with organization. Some simple methods. I know the middle school does a good job with an agenda and, you know, categories of work and that kind of thing. We often recommend students have a red day folder, a red day binder, and a white day binder. Color coding is really helpful. Using that good old-fashioned agenda is one of the most powerful ways to keep organized. Lots of students like to think they can do it all on their phone. It is not as effective at all. The process of actually writing down assignments helps hold it in our memories. Communication. When we think about communication, this is our time when we're really supporting your student. Counselors do a lot of this in supporting your student in communicating with all the important people here at the school. So your student, as they move into young adulthood, are really taking on self-advocacy and a little more assertiveness in terms of charting their course. So when they're a bit confused in a class, or they have a question for a teacher, or they need to make something up, we really want them reaching out to that teacher. And email is typically the best way to do that. If they're having a hard time doing that, we also want them using office hours, then we can help them out with that. And we can help them with some of those kind of confidence building skills and communication skills. Social, I can't emphasize enough how critical, and you all are probably aware, our social life is during this age, 14 to 18. And in fact, it might be one of the most critically defining pieces of this journey. It is really important that you continue to guide your student in terms of social connections and how they recreate. Students are making lots of choices, and they are adolescents, and sometimes those choices aren't well informed. They're more emotionally informed. So as parents, as guardians, it is still our job to guide those social peer group choices, because it can really, really determine a lot during these years. Also, balance with social media, really critical that we're having those conversations. Next, balance. And our big kind of hope for your students is that we know each one is unique and different, has different interests, different energy, a little more introverted, more extroverted, that kind of thing. But whoever your student is, that we want to help support them with balance through these years. You know, some students can be extremely motivated and driven academically, but so much so that they can become quite anxious. Adolescence is already an anxious time here and there for some students. So again, we want to look at balance. Balance with social media, balance with academics, balance with social time, all that kind of thing. All right, are there any questions after this little bit of the presentation? I will look at the chat.
Yeah, there's several, Diane, in the chat.
All right, I see with this. We are gonna go over, we'll talk about Thoreau a little bit later. The Fresh Start dates are not established yet. You will be hearing about that a little bit later on. Typically it's that week and a half. There's three sessions and 2 days and 1 night, and they happen over the week and a half before school starts. Let's see. I will talk about the Thoreau program a little bit later.
Yeah, we're going to cover a lot of this stuff.
And yes, you can. Excellent question. Yes, you can leave campus at lunch. 9th all the way through 12th. And does 8th grade Spanish count towards the 2-year requirement? 8th grade Spanish, if you are recommended for Spanish 2 here, will count as 1 year. 1 year of Spanish 1. And yes, it will count toward that 2-year requirement. All right, Carrie.
Only if they pass with a C+ or better. In Spanish too.
In
For
Spanish too.
Spanish 2, you have to pass for the C+ or better, and we'll bring up Spanish 1 as a class that they have passed with credit. But those, yeah, all good questions. Are we ready to go?
I think
All
we're
right.
ready.
So so a typical 9th grade schedule, unfortunately, we will say unfortunately that 9th grades do not get to choose as many classes as they'd like. The English and Global Studies is a block class, and so they will have this same teacher for both of those classes, and they will meet pretty much every single day with that teacher. And it'll be merged together and integrated with they'll read a book about about Iran, and they'll be studying Iran as well and writing papers. And that's an example. They'll also be taking a math class. Now, the math teachers will be making recommendations, but and we'll be getting those recommendations soon. The science teachers will also be making a recommendation. Students will also take health for one semester and a PE class for for another semester. So they will be taking health and PE for one semester each. We do recommend that they take a world language, but that is an elective for Ashland High School. And then they can choose another elective. And obviously by elective, we mean classes that they want to choose for themselves, that are introductory classes and other classes of interest to them. And so as you can see, the schedule is pretty much decided for them, prescribed for them. And if they choose to take a world language, they would have basically one period that they can take either a full semester long class or a full year class for 2 semesters, or 2 separate single semester classes. This is an example of a 9th grade schedule for semester 1, for semester 2. As you can see, they're going to have English for the whole year. The health and PE will be split probably in the same period, but not necessarily. And it can be the other way around. So they could possibly take PE first and then health for second semester. They'll be taking math for the whole year, science for the whole year. And we split our schedule into 2, a red day and a white day, like AMS does with is it blue and white day? And so so for 4 periods would be one day, and then 3 periods would be the next. Now, right now we're thinking we're going to have a 7-day schedule, but we're not 100% sure if it's going to be a 7-period schedule. In my experience here, we've been having an 8-period schedule. Right now we have a 6-period schedule. So, but we're looking probably for a 7-period schedule. So that means 4 classes one day, 3 classes the next day, and they keep rotating like that. And so, so the next day they would have global studies with the same teacher that they had first period the day before. And then if they choose a world language, otherwise it would be that other elective that they would choose. And like I said, it can be either a semester-long elective or a year-long elective, and then another place for another elective. So that's an example of what a 9th grade schedule could look like. And it can go many different ways in that, because they can have English second period, and this is just an example. All right, so we're going to talk about electives right now and what they are and the variety that we offer. And Brianna is going to share that with you.
Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, so at Ashland High School, we offer a ton of different electives, and we will go into more detail. We'll watch a short little video, and then also Maurice will walk us through the catalog so he can show you how to access those elective descriptions. So as you can see on this slide, in the very center of that form, it says prerequisite. And so for those who don't know what a prerequisite means, it basically just means that it's a class that you have to take in order to take a higher level class. So if you're wanting to take Ceramics 1, Clay Basics, there is a prereq to take that class. And the prereq is Mixed Media Foundations, or you can take Art 1. And so if you're looking through the catalog at classes and there's a class that you really want to take, you'll just want to check that section and see if it has a prerequisite. So next slide, please. All right, so all of the electives at Ashland High School will obviously be new to our incoming middle school students. However, we have some really cool newer to Ashland High School electives that I just kind of want to highlight. So one of them is technical drafting in CAD, and that is a CTE class. CTE stands for Career and Technical Education. And so in that class, students learn principles and drafting techniques, and they create 2- and 3-dimensional drawings. They use 3D solid modeling. And then Spanish for native speakers, that expands upon skills to speak and listen, and then also read and write. We have mindfulness studies, which is a combination of mindfulness, yoga, and breath work, relaxation yoga, physical postures, breathing exercises, reflection of self-awareness, and then stage management. That class, you can sign up for it in the forecasting form, but just be aware that as a student, you'll have to interview and audition with Betsy Bishop, and she's the teacher. So if that's something that you're wanting to do, and that's a lot of behind the scenes. So like painting, design, costume design, lighting, and a lot of hands-on projects for that class. And then next we're going to watch just a short video of the different CTE options that we have available at the high school.
CTE is the best part of the school day.
Learn and apply new skills in project-based classrooms.
Become passionate about something at school.
Career and technical education is probably the most valuable thing we can impart on the high school level.
It's a creative outlet for energy that you have, and it's where you can learn really useful skills that you use your whole life as a hobby or even a career.
Okay, so as you can see, we have a lot of really cool options that students can explore. And for any of those classes or any of those options, we have introductory courses. So you don't have to have any like existing skills or knowledge to be a part of that and learn more. And, our students can take what they learn in those classes and use it after high school, whether that be at the college level, vocational or trade schools, or if they decide to go directly into the workforce. So just a couple more electives that I want to highlight. We offer business classes. Our intro to business class covers management, marketing, finance, and accounting. And then we also have principles of marketing, which explores marketing, advertising, and the understanding of how that works. And then we have visual arts. So let's see. Creative music making is a collaborative effort with their peers, and there's songwriting, there's beat creations. If we have any gamers, they do like the video sounds for gaming, and we have cinema, mixed media, we have automotive, engineering and mechanics. So engineering wheel, glass and graphics, working with stained glass, intro to manufacturing, that's woods, and what was the other? Woods, and I have a note here.
Metal.
Metal, yeah, thanks, Diane. And then consumer studies, so that's fiber arts, knitting and sewing, and then interior design. So a lot of different options, and you can find all of the definitions or the class descriptions in the course catalog. And Maurice is actually going to talk a little bit more about that right now.
So good evening, everyone. And give me a couple seconds while I set up my screen share to get to the course catalog. And here we are. And so basically, for parents who've got a child who's gone through high school already, you're familiar with this. You can reflect back in your own days from high school and college, if you attended college. Basically, not much has changed as far as course catalogs, but we do have a nice setup this year. It's very user-friendly, easy to navigate. There's a lot of nice features, and we'll go over that really quick. And let's see here, I have to move the cells over so I can see what's going on because it's blocking everything. All right, and then let me go ahead and expand that a little bit. Okay, so let me go ahead and scroll down. Seems like it's freezing up on me here, folks. Try a different mode. Now, I've done this before with students, no problem, but tonight, of course, let's try read mode. See if that works. Here we go. Okay. All right, so front cover, welcome. And as we scroll down, just basic information to start with. We have our administrators listed in case you need to contact them. We have our table of contents. It's probably one of the more important pages. This is where everything starts. This is where everything's listed in alphabetical order. Some nice features that I was talking about is if you click on one of the major headings or individual class, it'll take you straight to that class. And then to return, you can go to the table of contents on any page and it'll take you right back here to start with. You can access this at the Ashland High School website, easy to get to under students. It's a pull down menu, and the first item on the pull down menu is the course catalog. Looking through this on the left, a lot of information. I think one of the questions that we didn't answer that one of the parents asked was, can you take a foreign language as an alternate? Another format, independent study would be something you want to look up, and you can do that way. Throughout their 4 years, there's requirements for class loads. You can read about that. Grading policy, schedule changes, dropping the class, out periods. This is when you opt to take an out instead of a class. And as you get higher in grade levels, you'll have opportunity to do that. Athletics, if you're interested in sports. There's tag info, fees and charges for certain courses. We'll get into that in a sec. And going back again on the right, information for college and pathways and planning. We have Jennifer Marsden in the College Career Center, who is an incredible resource for information. I would reach out to her for questions pertaining to that issue or concerns. You can also attend or take classes that count as college credit or take courses outside with SOU. AP information for students who are interested in an advanced placement and getting college credit through that pathway. Also, sorry about that, it gets a little jerky here, a little touchy. Someone was asking about Thoreau. There's information, even though we will go over that. We don't expect you to remember every single bit of information we're giving you tonight. So that's why the course catalog is a good reference point. You can go back and look over this if you have some questions and read over it. And then if you still have further questions, you can reach out to us and then we can help you. So starting with business, we can just look at that for fun. And it gives you an outline in the department and also the one course for intro to business starting there. And then the second course, their principles of marketing. When you read this, there's a couple of things you would want to look at. The grade that you can take this course. So this is available for freshmen through senior year. It's only a semester class. It's not a year-long class. And then you can look over the course outline to get an idea what that course is about. Once again, some of these courses have fees. If your child is on free and reduced lunch, you can go ahead and get a fee waiver for that. So if you noticed, I went back to table of contents, which took me right back here again, which is a nice feature. Before you had to scroll through the entire catalog just to get where you wanted to go, which is very time consuming and frustrating. And so looking over some electives, a lot of kids have obviously questions about the electives and what they can do. Looking at manufacturing. The nice thing too is there's flow charts. It lets you know what the prerequisites are, what you need to do to begin with, and then you can take the next course at the next level, the next stage. All right, once again, going down, intro to manufacturing as a freshman, you can opt to take this. There's the fee that we were talking about and explains the course a little more. My thing that I like to do with students is encourage them to go outside of their comfort zone. Meaning that if you're never interested in taking a course like Intro to Manufacturing, I encourage students to do courses like that. There's plenty of skill sets that you will use throughout your life. I believe that auto mechanics is an interesting course for all students. Once again, my logic is that pretty much everybody will own a car in their lifetime, and during that ownership of that car, it will have problems. It's nice to know the basic functions of an automobile and how it works, especially when you take it to a repair shop and the mechanic is going down the litany of things that he thinks or she thinks that might be wrong with it and what you should change or fix. And that can add up really to quite a big sum of money. So it's nice to know what's going on so you can have that conversation with them and say, well, no, I don't think that needs to be fixed, but yes, I agree with that. So that's an example. Also, culinary arts would be another example I use. Everyone pretty much, when your child grows up or you as a student, when you grow up, you'll be pretty much on your own on a budget the first few years for sure. And it's what young people tend to do at first is they tend to eat out a lot, which once again costs a lot of money after a while. It racks up. And it's nice to know how to cook your own food. It's unhealthy to eat out a lot, number one. It's a lot healthier and a lot more budget conscious to go to the grocery store, pick up your food and know how to cook it. So once again, get outside of your comfort zone. Even though you might not be interested in it as a career, it's good to have those skill sets when you grow up and graduate graduate high school and possibly go to college or work or the military. It's always good to know these things. So once again, looking through these items, they're all alphabetical order. So you have a major heading, and then like, for example, theater, and then all the subheadings under that department. And you can see all the classes offered. just to give you an idea how many courses are listed, how many options students have. And for core classes, once again, useful tool for math, for example, flowchart, what your child can take that first year and the continuing years. Okay, I think I pretty much, this is more of a outline intro to how to navigate it. And so once again, it's really easy to use, really easy to use. So does anyone have any questions really quick? Okay, I stopped sharing. So I think, Carrie, go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint now.
Someone asked if we have glass blowing, and so I was looking through the course catalog and it doesn't specify. Does anyone know?
We have what's called glass and graphics, which is actually essentially stained glass with some introductory woodwork, but we do not have glass blowing. We don't have the facilities to teach that. You need a lot of equipment, but we do have a really nice stained glass. We have a glass and graphics 1, glass and graphics 2. I think we even have glass and graphics 3.
And students can take glass and graphics and then go into what is it? Into woods. What is it? Woods 1. And yeah, so you don't have to take intro to manufacturing to get to Woods 1. All right, well, thank you, Maurice. The next thing we're going to talk about tonight is the forecasting form and how now it is online and digital and actually really user-friendly. And Diane, did you want to switch places?
Yeah,
or?
I think we're going to need to. So excuse us while we switch because my computer won't share the screen.
Yeah, and I will share that screen.
All righty. Good evening, all. We're going to walk you through this forecasting form. As you can see, there's a little link up there. Actually, that's the course catalog link, just in case you want to reference that while you fill out your forecasting form. The forecasting form is being sent to all of the homeroom teachers or teachers, depending on what school you go to, the link to the forecasting form. And the forecasting form is also located on the Ashland High School website. We want you to take your time in thinking through it and filling it out, so we didn't really want you to rush. You will have, your student has until next Wednesday, April 14th, to complete their forecasting form. Again, it's located on our Ashland School website under Counseling Services, under the subcategory Forecasting. So Counseling Services, which is right at the top menu bar, and then there's a
screenshot of that in a minute.
Oh, okay. All right, Carrie, you got the PowerPoint updated. Okay, so we're going to just walk you through how your student is going to go ahead and fill this form out. It's new to us. Our own Jen Marston developed it. She's on with us tonight. She's our career and college counselor, our counselor expert, and our Aspire coordinator. So here we go. We want your student to fill out their last name first, then their first name, because we are alphabetizing and sorting by last name. We are asking students to identify their middle school. So we'll go ahead and choose a school, John Muir. It helps us kind of track where our students are coming from. We do want students to enter a phone number. Just because you're 8th graders and we don't have access to your phone numbers through PowerSchool, your information is not open to us yet, and we may need to call you and kind of just talk through a class choice if for some reason a class that you really wanted isn't offered. That really doesn't happen very often, but we do like to have your number just in case. Question number 5 kind of reviews what you've just learned with Carrie. These are the essential classes that all ninth graders must take: English, global studies, math, science, and health. That being said, there is a little bit, tiny bit of choice involved. But with math, you're going to have a teacher recommendation. So when we tab or click your math, you have 3 options. Your student has 3 options. The majority of students are going to be taking Integrated Math 1. And for those of you who are not familiar with Integrated Math 1, we brought the Integrated Math 1 and 2 on about 2 years ago. It's a lot of schools throughout the nation are moving toward integrated math. Integrated math is about 50% algebra, about 25% geometry, and about 25% statistics. And so your student is getting exposed to a variety of different kinds of math throughout the year. Okay, some students will be recommended for geometry honors. That's our honors track math. And a few students who have been with us this year, 8th graders taking geometry honors, will be signing up for Algebra 2 honors. So I'm going to choose Integrated Math 1. Science is something that your student will have 2 choices from. Oops, sorry about that. That's not science. Here we go. Environmental science or biology. Again, your 8th grade science teacher will be making a recommendation. Environmental science is a wonderful class. It doesn't have homework and doesn't have the kind of math that biology. So biology depends a little bit more on some stronger math skills and does have homework. So I'm going to go ahead and choose biology. Now, as Carrie said, you are required, each student is required to take 1 semester of PE their freshman year. Again, they have 2 choices. This is where we really do want your student to start becoming familiar with the course catalog now that it is just so accessible and so easy to navigate. Because the difference between Introduction to Strength and Conditioning and PE is significant. So really, your student should choose the one that fits them better. It will make for a much happier experience. So Introduction to Strength and Conditioning focuses on a little bit of cardio, or a lot of cardio, and then exposure and teaching throughout the weight room. So your student will become well-versed in using all of the machinery and equipment in the weight room. And then PE1 is more of an overview class of a variety of different kinds of activities that are really meant to encourage lifelong fitness. All right, so moving on to question 8. As Carrie said, you know, world language is not required for high school graduation. It is required for four-year college or university. It's also just a really good class to take. It's great for our brains. It's also just great as we move on and become world citizens in terms of future travel or connection with people from different cultures and countries. So I am going to go ahead and use, as an 8th grader, moving into 9th, one of my year-long elective spaces to choose a language. So let's just choose, I'm going to go ahead and choose Mandarin Chinese. We have an excellent Mandarin Chinese teacher. Moving on to musical and performing arts. Now at this point, I have 6 full classes, or 6 year-long spots filled up. And if we have a 7-period schedule, which we imagine we are going to have, you just have either 1 year-long elective or 2 semester-long electives. Now you are going to, your student is going to have a lot more choice as they become sophomores, juniors, and seniors. They, once they kind of get through their core content, graduation requirements, they get to choose more electives. So it's kind of hard that they don't get to choose more right now, but they get to look forward to more down the line. So musical performing arts, if you've been part of the band or the orchestra over at AMS or even want to audition with one of our teachers here, you've played an instrument on your own or in a group outside of school, you're welcome to choose one of these. I'm going to go ahead and say none there. And that brings me down to question 10, which is kind of our biggest question. And this is where your choice really comes in as an 8th grader. So here we are going to actually ask you to identify, believe it or not, 6 electives, which seems like a lot given that in this case scenario, I only have room for 2 semester-long electives. But we are doing that just because during the forecasting process, sometimes we're forecasting classes that we don't know for sure if they actually will take place, depending on the numbers of students that do select them. So we want you to have alternatives, and we want these alternatives to be your priorities, not ours. So if I were going down and choosing, I might choose an introductory class if I wanted to get into art. So maybe mixed media foundations or Art 1. I know that can give me some choice into drawing and painting or ceramics if I'd like to take that. Then maybe my second choice might be, let's see, maybe I really, really want to do stage management and theater arts with Betsy Bishop and the theater department. Learn all the technical aspects of lighting and costuming and audio and all that kind of thing. All right, so just in case I don't get stage management, I think I'm going to put ceramics. Let's see if I go. As you notice, this is all alphabetized. So you get the idea. So we're just going to whip through these so we can kind of show you how this all ends up. Whoops, this is a very sensitive computer. So I'm kind of moving around quickly. So let's take choir. There's both a year-long choir and a semester-long choir. Okay, here we go. Thoreau program. There was a question in the chat about Thoreau program. We have an alternative ed program here that was started about probably close to 15 years ago now. In 9th and 10th grade, it's called Thoreau. In 11th and 12th grade, it's called Catalyst. It's a graduation track program, and it's kids are earning credits that qualify them to go off to a 4-year college if that's what they choose. It is formatted differently than our regular classrooms. It's limited to 17 students per class, and that class takes 3 content areas together with the same teacher. They take English, they take global studies, and they take science with that teacher. And the curriculum is kind of interwoven. There's an emphasis on some outdoor education, more so than in our regular classrooms. So during nice weather, our teachers are taking our students out sometimes every other Friday, as often as that. If you are interested in Thoreau, we just want you to say yes, okay? It doesn't mean you're going to choose any of your previous classes differently. It just means that you're letting us know that we need to contact you. We're going to have an open house for Thoreau during one of our tour dates. I think that's May 26th. And I think that information was on your frequently asked question flyer that came out to your schools. Okay, if your student has special circumstances, the kind of special circumstances that we are interested in are circumstances that might indicate that your student can take a class that might not be offered here. That would be a good example of a special circumstance. We had a student yesterday in yesterday's presentation say that her father had already talked to Mr. Malcolm, our art teacher, and after he assessed her work and her portfolio, he approved her to move straight into art studio, which is one of our really advanced art classes that we don't have listed here for freshmen. Another special circumstance might be I lived with my family in France for 2 years, or let's say China, since I signed up for Mandarin Chinese 1, with my family in China for, let's just say, a year. Can I take an advanced Chinese class? So again, what this gives us is extra information, and we can reach out to you and have our Chinese teacher do a language placement test and place your student appropriately in the level that they really should be in to be challenged and to thrive. So now I just submit it. And there you go. Now, quick question that some of you may have. What if your student submits a schedule and then they think about it and talk to friends and talk to you and they change their mind about a class or two? They can go ahead and click the link again and fill out another forecasting form. We are going to only reference the most recent form from your student. So we don't want like 5 of them, but we do know that people change their minds and they rethink things and they get more information. And we welcome that. We want them to be happy with their choices. All right. All right. Any questions at this point? Let me go on. All right. And then we'll switch.
Well, we've had a lot of questions in the chat, haven't we? I'm going to share my screen again.
So we have a question. In Throw, do you still take biology as a ninth?
I did answer that question in there, but
Oh, I didn't see that.
the row covers English, global studies, or a social science and a science, a life science or a physical science, but it does not specifically cover biology or chemistry. And so if you wanted to take those classes in order to take the higher level science classes, those would become electives, actually. Any other questions that you found?
Carrie, the way your video is, it's too high. You need to, there you go.
Oh, that's because there was a tall person.
I know there was a tall person in your room.
Thank you, Diane.
I'm sorry I didn't readjust it for you.
Okay, so I am hoping that I am pasting the complete link to the forecasting form in chat. Last night, it looks like it's a complete one, looking at the bottom screen there. Yesterday, anyway, having done this recently, I somehow left a letter out and it didn't work. So I just put it in the chat. And as Diane was saying, if you go to the Ashland High School website and you see right here, it says counseling services across the bar there, right under Ashland High School. When you click on that, it actually comes up with a drop menu that looks like this other left-hand side bar. You click forecasting, scroll down, you'll find that link there. That's also where I think I'm going to put this recording, possibly posted on the website here. I haven't, but right, Diane? That's the place it would go?
Well, we can put it there. I think that would be a great place. We also are, placing a lot of our recordings on the AHS YouTube site, but
yeah, but then I still have
this is more accessible. So we'll put it up there, but then we'll place the link here. Yeah.
And I'll send a link to the administrators and the teachers and try to get it out that way as well. And so I hope somebody has tried to follow that link and it worked. If there's any questions about that, but so then if you have any other questions in reviewing and choosing classes, of course, we strongly recommend you get to know the course guide. It's an incredible document. There's a lot of information in there. I know there was a question earlier about whether clubs are listed in the course guide. And I honestly haven't checked this year. It has been in the past, but I honestly don't think it is there. Did any of you guys check to see if the course guide had
No, I haven't noticed it. I kind of compared to last year's, and I kind of noticed that last minute too, that it was, I believe it was listed in the hard copy last year, but I haven't noticed it this year.
But in the beginning of the year, we have an activities fair, and we kind of, out in the courtyard or virtually, whatever we need to do so that students are aware of the clubs being offered and when they're being offered. They're also listed in the main office as on the wall, so that students can walk in and see what clubs are being offered that day and where where they meet and what time. And so we do strongly encourage our students to get involved. Of course, parents and friends and, siblings, older siblings are a great resource for students to choose classes. And we will be online again on Monday between 3:30 and 5:30. You should have a link to that. That I know that was sent out by your administrators and is also in the FAQ flyer that was sent. It would have been good for me to have it right here, right now. But we'll be here on Monday just to answer questions. So you can just pop in, ask a question. We'll spend time answering the questions that you have, and all 4 of us are going to be here. So we'll have breakout sessions and be able to try to meet with as many parents as possible that have questions.
There was a question about international programs, and actually Bree and I were talking about that with Carl today. And so international programs are canceled this year and next.
Well, yes, but for 8th graders coming in, when I think about international exchange programs, I think about our students studying or internationally. Typically, our high school students who are interested in international will apply for the Rotary Exchange their sophomore year to go their junior year. Some students who would prefer not to go for the full year after their sophomore year in high school will apply for a summer program, which is a month exchange where your family, would host a student from a different country, and then your child would go to that country and stay with their family. That's also organized through Rotary. Obviously, there's a lot of other exchange programs, but we work most closely with Rotary.
Are there any programs or recommendations for activities after June graduation and before school starts in August?
Well,
is this for 8th graders?
Yeah.
Going into 9th, yes.
I mean, we have Fresh Start is really what we have. And I know that some students may get involved in sports before school actually starts. Like I think the volleyball or what do you call it? The football, they'll be practicing before school starts, huh?
Even basketball.
Yeah, and basketball. And so Carl Kemper is our athletic director, and he's a great one to get a hold of. But I know they also really want you guys to be a part of the athletics department. And so they'll be reaching out and letting the middle schools know more about that as well.
I was going to just say, if you're interested for your student in just like general like enrichment type programs, SOU actually is offering their summer programs again this summer for kind of our pre-college youth. And I think those summer kind of week-long camps are offered for up to.
Yeah. You can find that on the SOU website. I just read about that, that they were going to have those this year. And also,
yeah, they are.
So the forms are due on Wednesday, April 14th. Like Diane said, you can fill it out if you feel like you filled it out and didn't want to change your mind, which we know happens. Go ahead and, go back to the form and resubmit another one. And you actually can start it and then, and possibly get back to it. Actually, 8th graders may not be able to do that. Sorry. You might have to start the form over again. For the upperclassmen, it's connected to the email account. And so it will be easy anyways. So we'll take as many as you submit. We'll take the most recent one that you submitted as the actual. The other there was a question about if there's a priority, if students, get it in first, do they have a higher priority of getting the classes that they want? And to be honest, no, that's not what happens. It gets dumped into the computer, and then the computer tries to fit all the classes that students want into a schedule. And so we try to do, get everybody what they want. And then the counselors go back and look at it, and again, to see if it's possible that we can look at them a different way and get the students what they want.
There was another question. Are we on schedule for full-time school in the fall?
It seems like
that's the assumption.
Yeah, that is the assumption. It feels like it, I guess.
Yeah, all the indicators I'm hearing too is pointing in that direction. So yeah, it looks that way.
But we still need to get more people vaccinated. Okay.
A few more questions.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah,
actually a good one. Yeah. When do we receive the course schedule? Once, they submit the forecasting form and we do our process.
Like that's one of the questions in the frequently asked question flyer. For an 8th grade, for students coming in to 9th grade, they probably will not receive them until the first day of school. The exciting thing about first day for 9th graders is they are the only ones on campus. And so nobody else is on campus except for the Fresh Start counselors. And so if you can't get into Power School, if you can log into Power School before you start with us, then you will have a copy of your schedule about maybe a week before school starts. And so, I know the AMS students, your parents already know how to get on Power School, and they'll be sending out the information that you need to add your new 9th grader to the high school Power School. Otherwise, they
Karen,
will get.
Can I interrupt? Because I think you're kind of answering the next question. And the next question was, is this forecasting form considered registration, or are there other things we need to do to register?
Yes, you do need, and that's also in the form, the FAQ, but so this is forecasting, it is not registration. And so you will need to go into Info Snap on, you can get there through the Ashland High School website and register again with us. Not you just have to re-enroll kind of thing. It's not you don't have to submit all the paperwork again. Some of the paperwork. It'll all be on InfoSnap. And I asked when that would be available, and they weren't really sure, but definitely by midsummer.
Okay, one other question actually put a smile on my face, because that's what my own son asked me when he started middle school, because I wouldn't let him have a smartphone. Are smartphones needed and used for classes?
No, smartphones are not necessary.
No, they're not.
At times when we need a device, there's always computers in most classrooms, and teachers can also take their students to our computer labs.
How do the dates for Fresh Start work around the early start sports practices?
Well, a Fresh Start's been going on for a long time, and that's always been an issue, or not an issue, but is something that, the early start teams, or, the practices, they know that Fresh Start is happening, and the counselors are also athletes, and so they work around it. It's definitely something we want all students to participate in, and so I know that question has come up for the last couple of years.
So I think what happens is sometimes athletes do get assigned to a Fresh Start session that conflicts with like something critical in their practice. So what happens with that is, if it really is something we need to work around, we can reassign them to a different session.
And then additional question, where can we find the FAQ form?
Yeah, that's a good question. I will, it's your admin received that form. I mailed it to them. And I don't, anyway,
So probably the office managers at each school.
Yeah, possibly. I think that Willow Wynn, it doesn't sound like they gave it to the kids, but I was going to reach out about
Carrie,
that.
maybe we should post that on the website.
We might as well.
So why don't we post that also under forecasting?
Yes.
And then another question is, can I physically come in and get the paperwork for registration?
No, I'm pretty sure it's all on InfoSnap. You can try. I mean, that's what I was told. It was all electronic.
And
Yeah, it's been electronic for about 3 years now. Yeah.
And
I'm
then,
going to stop. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Do you have,
Oh, go ahead.
okay, if you're not coming from a public school, how do we go about with the system, or how do we go with the process?
Well, it's
Assuming-
really through the Ashland High School website. We'll have information about registration right on the front page, and it'll lead you through the InfoSnap and, you know, submitting forms online. And then, like, you know, you go to the counseling information, go to forecasting, and you'll find all of this other information available. But it's kind of incredible how much information is on the Ashland High School website. But they do move that registration information right on top. And I think that's even on the district website.
If you're already on InfoSnap, will they just email us to update the forms?
I think they do email you to update the forms, yes.
As a parent, yes, you have to go through and refill it out before your student is officially registered. So even if you've done it the year before, you have to do it again and again and again. Just updating anything. Yeah, that's critical.
It seems like we're caught up at this point.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop recording. And